A Karen at Disneyland tried to shame me in public and accused me of cutting in line, but the cast member proved her wrong in front of everyone. So I recently spent a full week at Disneyland with my family. Everything was awesome. And this is where it gets fun. First, I should say that I am sincerely the most walkover person there is. If someone has a problem with me, I usually just let it go and walk away. I never stand up for myself. Well, this time I finally did something about it. It was the last day of our trip, and our first time ever going to a seasonal event for Halloween. Our last visit had been 11 years ago, so I wanted to make sure everyone had the best time. One of my mom's biggest wishes was to meet Jack Skellington and take a photo with him. On Wednesday, I had my baby with me, and we had just finished Pirates of the Caribbean for the third time in a row. I saw Jack walking by and checked the app. Sure enough, he was scheduled for a photo op in 20 minutes. I thought, hell yes. I called my mom, who was in Toontown with the other kids, and told her to head over. It would be a 10 to 15 minute walk to get to the area behind Pirates, so I said, no biggie, I'll get in line. I got to the line and spoke with a cast member, whom I will call Abby. I asked her if this was the line for Jack, and she said yes, but I would need to leave my stroller by the fence a few feet away. No problem. I grabbed my sleeping baby and got in line. I was standing behind two ladies who were chatting with each other and occasionally with Abby. Wanting to make sure I wasn't breaking any rules, I asked Abby, is it okay if I wait in line for my family, who will be taking the photo? She said, absolutely. As long as one person is holding the spot, when you approach the door, your family can all walk up. I was, at the time, the last person in line. A woman, whom I will call Karen, walked up and asked Abby about the line. Abby told her yes, this was Jack's line, and also told her to park her double stroller where I had parked mine. An older man stood behind me, and she got behind him. This is important. A few minutes later, the two ladies ahead of me left. I stepped up into their spot, now behind a family of three, a father, mother, and daughter. I'll call them the Nosy family. My mom texted that she was close and needed help finding me. I FaceTimed her for 2 or 3 minutes, and because the line wrapped around a column, I had my back turned for a bit. When I turned back, I was behind the Nosy family again. This is where the fun begins. Karen suddenly stepped out and loudly called me out as a line jumper. Excuse me? Were you in line? Because I don't remember seeing you behind this family. She was 2 spots behind me, and there was also an older man standing behind me. I calmly but firmly said, I've been standing in line this whole time. She turned to the older man and said, was she in front of you? Was she? Because I remember you standing behind this family. He didn't want to get involved and just shrugged without sticking up for the fact that I had been in front of him. Whatever. I said again, like I said, I've been here the entire time. Go ask the attendant. Karen stopped for a moment, but I could tell she wasn't done. I brushed it off and laughed about it when my sister Jay came up, while my mom was parked with the little ones. I told my sister I had just been accused of cutting and laughed at how ridiculous it was. But Karen decided to escalate. She brought over another cast member, whom I will call Tracy. Tracy had the attitude of someone who just wanted to get this over with and not deal with adults acting up. Karen pointed at me, talking loudly, saying I jumped the line. My sister, who is confrontational and loves to argue when she knows she is right, jumped in and started going back and forth with Karen and Tracy. Tracy suggested I step out of line. Both my sister and I immediately said no. At this point, people were pointing, murmuring, and the Nosy family was speaking in Spanish, saying I wasn't behind them. My mom was still confused about what was happening, so I called her again as the line moved forward. I asked my 9-year-old niece to stand with me because I felt so embarrassed by all the pointing. The Nosy family kept staring at me, making my niece even more uncomfortable. I reassured her to ignore it. Finally, the Nosy family was at the front, and I was right behind them. I reached out to Abby. Hi, sorry, I hope you remember me from earlier when I kept bugging you. She smiled. Of course, yes. Once you're up, your family can walk up here. The Nosy mom immediately cut in. Well, she actually skipped the line because she wasn't behind us. Karen jumped back into the conversation too. Yes, she actually skipped the line. Abby looked at me, then at them, and said firmly, no, I spoke with her earlier. She has been here the entire time. I remember her. My sister then told the Nosy family, what does it matter to you anyway? You're ahead of her. This only affects people behind you, so stay out of it. They immediately went quiet. Then Tracy suddenly tried to jump back in and accuse me again. Abby doubled down. No, I spoke with her. I walked her to the line myself. She has been here for the past 30 minutes. Karen, the Nosy family, and Tracy all went quiet after that. I finally called my mom over and we all got our photos. It felt so good, and I made sure everyone in line could hear it.